Sarah Walton, welcome to the Star Coach Show.
Oh my gosh, Mike, I'm so excited to be here with you today. I'm like having a hard time containing myself. This is going to be awesome.
One of the things I love about doing my initial calls with potential guests is that, like, this energy gets started. Well, the energy that got started between you and me was off the charts. I thought I have to wear a seatbelt for this interview because I might just blow right out of my chair.
Felt the same way. I felt the same way. I'm excited. You guys hang on to your hats and glasses because
Hang
it's
on,
about
that's
to
right.
get fun.
You are going to be in for a good time. So, who is Sarah Walton?
That
Sarah
is a
Walton is a top business coach coming out of New Jersey. For those of you who not in the United States, that's on the east side of the United States. She is the owner of the Abundance Academy. In her six-figure business, she does all sorts of creative and wonderful things, including having a membership site, having a high-level mastermind. She does the things that anytime I speak to coaches about how to be wildly successful, I say you have to have multiple streams of services and income. Sarah's a beautiful example of that. And in this concept of Abundance Academy, abundance, period, hear that word abundance, something that if we operate out of a place of abundance, it opens so much more than when we're in a place of scarcity. Even in being magnetic, like how many people are magnetically drawn to scarcity?
mm,
I don't know very many.
mm.
So what Sarah and I decided to do, because we do these intro calls, and I say you could talk about 800,000 things, but let's zero in. So what we zeroed in on was the concept of our mindset,
Mm.
a mindset of abundance, and then how do we make that tactical in our business? And one of the things that Sarah specializes in that we thought we would really get clear and give you some tactical rubber to the road things about how to create a landing page or a sales page that is authentic and genuine, but that gets results. We want to get results. Can we have a few amens to that?
Yes, please.
So,
I'm in.
so with all of that, Sarah, I had to have you on the show. Just reading your stuff, I was like, yeah, let's talk. And then, ooh, the synergy that happened when we were together, it just had to happen.
It really
So
did. It did.
let's throw the ball to you and say, when we think about this concept of
Mm.
mindset, a mindset of abundance, what do we want to put on the table to begin with?
Oh, such a good question. And just thank you so much for even having me on the show today. This is going to be amazing. And I feel the exact same way. You guys, we're all lucky in business when we can find our like playmates in the sandbox. So to start with, for abundance, I just want to give you a little bit of a backdrop here. The reason I talk about this is because I was raised in such extreme poverty, and I really understand when people are like, yeah, you people talking about abundance, can like someone pay my electric bill? So I want you to know, I get that sometimes for people that can be the backdrop of this conversation. I hear
Mhm.
you, I see you. Stick with me, we're going to get to it. So when we're putting abundance on the table, one of the first things I tell people to do, electric bill is a great example, right?
Yes.
Is to look up. And that sounds crazy. You're like, are you woo-wooing me, Sarah Walton? No, I'm not. This is like scientifically proven. Just look up. If you're in a car right now listening to this podcast, look up, look at the amount of space that there is. We don't do that. We focus on the stuff in the space. And there's so many fewer things in the space than there is space. So for example, like I'm looking at the beautiful Meg right now, right? And I can see behind her and around her, there's all this beautiful space. If I look up a little bit more, I can see my own camera on its tripod and all the spaces in between the tripod. That is one of the first things we want to do. Whether you are going into a negotiation, you're going into a sales call, you're about to sit down and write a sales page, right? A high converting sales page, which we're going to talk about. You got to breathe first. You got to find the space. Because the beautiful thing about abundance is it's around us all the time. It's always there. It's what's beating your heart. It's what's growing your hair, right? It's what has the sunshine every single day. And so as you're looking up, you are part of that. And here comes the rub a little bit, right? If you don't sense that, it's because you've learned to block it and it's not your
Mhm.
fault, right? Because we're born into this world that has a lot of myths that just come right at us. And the
Right.
three big ones, right, are there's not enough, more is better, and that's just the way it is. And once we start breathing in that air, we can only focus on the tiny little things in the space. We stop seeing the space. But if you ever watch a young baby, they're looking all around, noticing all the
Oh,
space, all
isn't
the
it
things, right?
beautiful?
Yeah. And then
They're
we
looking
learn
at
to
the angels. They're
contract.
looking, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's step number one is really get that there's so much space, there's so much opportunity. When you feel like there's only this way or that way, chances are there's probably dozens or hundreds of ways that you can get what you want or need in that moment. And if we fixate only on the one or two, we can miss the space around those options that could actually create more. Going back to the electric bill as an example, right? If we actually like
Right.
look up, take a breath, right? And you go, okay, what do I need and how do I get it? Okay, what do I need? How do I get it? And you let yourself work on that. And inevitably, I always make a joke about Bob in accounting. I don't know any Bob in accounting, but what happens is you're like, oh my God, I was supposed to call that guy Bob in accounting that I worked with 3 years ago. I'm going to reach out to him and see what's going on. And invariably, when I teach my clients this, they're like, they hired me to do. I was like, I know, right? Isn't that crazy? Like
Mm.
you had a thought, how do I make this happen? And you listened. And that's the second step to abundance. And it's not magical thinking. I know everybody always talks about the secret and the necklace and the bike. And it's like, it's not magical thinking. You actually have to take action. This
Mm-hmm.
is a grown-up conversation, not like I love Disney too, but it's not a Disney conversation. This is a conversation about causing things to happen in your life that are actually connected to the abundance that we were all born into. I mean, this planet is such a freaking miracle. The fact that any of us are
Mm-hmm.
born, hello, sex ed, is a miracle,
Yes.
right? Oh
Yes.
my God, we're 1 in a billion. Each one of us is like, oh my God, we made it. We're here. We're alive. Our body functions. Banana. We don't think about that
No.
because we're
Well,
taught to.
and you had said,
Yeah.
and I stepped on you earlier, and I apologize for
Don't
that. You
ever.
said we learn to constrict.
Yes.
So what I would say is we can also learn to expand. We
Correct.
can unlearn constricting and relearn expansion.
Yeah. And it is imperative because what I teach about mindset that we were talking about, right, is mindset is 80% of the game. And when I talk about success and I say it's 80% how you are viewing something, they're like, oh, come on. And I'm like, listen, in this day and age, Meg, like, let's tell the truth, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't throw a rock without hitting a strategy on the internet right now. Like any strategy you need, you can like say GTS, that
Right.
means Google that, right? So GTS it, you can find any strategy you want anywhere, right?
Oh,
And then you
not
apply
a
it
strategy. You can find so many that you're
in.
like, "Ah, what strategy do I even choose?"
There's an abundance of strategies. Yes,
Yes, there
but
is an
even once
abundance.
you pick one, it probably will work, right? But if you are approaching it and implementing that strategy with this is never going to work. I never get this right. This is for other people. I don't do this. You're going about it that way. What do you think is going to happen? And that's why strategy is only 20%. Any strategy, any coachy coach like me teaches anybody, right? It's going to work if it's implemented with the correct mindset. And that is actually where the work is. That's why people are always like, Sarah, you give everything away. And I'm like, yeah, because no one's going to do it. First of all, I love everybody,
Right.
but they're not going to do it. And for me, once they get started, the mindset kicks in. And if you don't have somebody by your side constantly pulling you to greatness,
Mhm.
constantly pulling you to expand, constantly pulling you into that abundance mindset, chances are it's not going to continuously work. And that's a
Right.
shame, but it's also such I think such a beautiful message and such a beautiful proof of how much we need each other and how
Right.
much stronger we all are when we're vulnerable and honest with each other. And we go, oh, dear heavens to Betsy, I don't think this is working, right? Like it's so
Right.
embarrassing to say that because everyone on the internet's making $1 million on the beach, right? So
Everybody
it's
is.
like
Every
everybody,
single person is.
everybody, right?
Everybody is. Yeah.
Yeah. So and the only growth that's possible, the only true success that's possible is when we lean on somebody and go, I'm going to do this and I'm really scared and I have to fight doubt and delay every day. And I'm so grateful you're here beside me to remind me that it's going to be bumpy. It's not going to be perfect. Anybody who says that is selling something, right? But it is possible. And
Hmm.
the expansion you experience while you do it is totally worth the entire game.
To-
Did I
So
answer your
the
question?
things I really want coaches to hear, yes, you did answer my question, is when you worry about, oh, I can't tell people that, or I can't do a alive and give that piece of information because I'm going to sell that piece of information is that information is abundant. Information is everywhere. People will not hire you for information. They hire you for implementation. They hire you for support. They hire you to be side by side with them when they're scared to death to step into a space of unknown. So, you know, look up. Look up away from the the holding so tight to your information because yes, it is your livelihood, but it's so much more than that.
It really is. It really is. And I just, once specifically coaches, I find once that fear gets dropped, it's you just blow up, right? And I
Mhm.
mean that literally. Like people start calling one because they've heard what you said, and you're actually it's like Baskin Robbins. You're out there giving away the samples. People go, "Oh my
Right.
God, that was amazing. Can I have more of that?" And if
Mhm.
you try to guard it or whatever, it doesn't work. And for anybody listening going, "No, I can't do that." I just want you to think about movie trailers. They always put the best 2 minutes of the entire movie in the trailer,
And
right? No
sometimes
matter what,
that's
right?
super disappointing because then you buy the whole movie and you were like, I got all of it in the trailer. So don't be the one that only gives the good stuff in the trailer. But anyway, but yes, you're right. The movies always give the very best part in the
Right?
trailer.
And excuse us very much, even when the movie's not great and your coaching is gonna be great, so we're not worried about that, but even when that happens, everybody go sees the movie anyway. We all know
Right.
the best parts are in the trailer, and we still go,
Right.
right?
We
It's
still
kind
go.
of like that. It's kind of like that,
Mhm.
like, you really want people to know who you are and how you're gonna show up for them, and sometimes, I mean, people are like, "Oh my gosh, Sarah," anytime I see Instagram or YouTube or I listen to the podcast, they're like, "I felt like I was in a coaching session with you," and I'm like, "That is absolutely by design." And the other thing that creates so much abundance in that is I know dang well there are people who cannot afford to work with me, right? Like it's not a joke. They're not like having a scarcity mindset, right? Like,
Right.
I got that. I hope they take that stuff and run with it and pass it forward and do amazing things with it. And sometimes I'll hear about that like 5 years later, someone will be like, oh my God, that one video changed my life. My business blew up. Can I hire you now? And I don't do it for that I end up getting
No,
hired, right? But
no.
it's like you watch abundance just multiply everywhere because you
Right.
did one thing for 30 seconds. Oh, come on. That's the game right there. It's so good.
So, so, so good. So now we've sort of set the stage. We need to look up. We need to operate from from a place of space rather
Mhm.
than constriction. Um, let's can we get a little tactical now
Oh,
and just
let's
wonder
do it.
like, okay, so now we're floating in space and we're loving it, or we're just taking advantage of all that's around us, and we're in that place of, and how do I apply this to my business?
Yes.
So
Yes. The
where do you
number
want to
one
go with
thing
that?
that you can do, the number, and this is, I don't, God, you want to talk about a tactic strategy that's been out there since like forever, is remembering your business is not about you. And that is so freaking hard because especially as coach, we're like, yeah, huh, it is. I'm
Yeah.
coaching on this because I went through this, right? Yeah, it's not about you. And that expansiveness can really open that up. And once we get, it's not about us, it's about the ideal client. So go to your avatar work. You all know you're supposed to be doing that, right? Their strategy, right? So we go do that. And then we sit in that space and we go, oh my God, what problem can I solve right now? Right now. And another question I love to ask inside of that, and this will give you social media posts, this will give you newsletters, this can give you a new course, this can give you a new offer, this can give you a new like microcosm inside of one of your business coaching strategies, right? Is who needs me right now? Is another great who needs me right now? And what problem can I solve for them? And if you ask those 2 questions before you write a page, before you send a newsletter, before you do anything, oh my gosh, the value and like the juice that you will pour into that content. I'm talking hardcore slogging through a sales page content. It's amazing what can start to happen. And of course, there's still a formula to that, which I'm happy to dive into that too.
Right.
There's still a formula, but it is never about you. And oh dear heavens, I had this on my own website forever, and you may still find it in places. I'm trying. I'm trying. Um, Hi, I'm Sarah. Never, please, please don't put that on your sales page or on your homepage, right? Because nobody cares. I love you. You're all amazing. I know. Nobody cares. But what it is, oh my gosh, you've been looking for XYZ. I'm so glad you're here. Or you are amazing for finding this page. I know how much is out there. You just nailed it. Make it about them, what they're going through, and the problem you're about to solve, and you're golden. And that is social media posts. I'm not kidding. If I see one more social media post about how special everybody is, it's like, I don't want to see those anymore. Like, how many of us are just flipping through stuff so fast? Like, I know you have a Ferrari, barf. Yeah, I know you went on vacation. I hate you. Right. Like, that's the space people are in
But
right.
and and
You're the
and
one that's like,
actually we're sort of like the thing that was taught initially, because I remember when I first went through coach training in the like 2007-ish,
mhm,
it was like, oh, and you want to show people what they can get, and the key thing was like people standing there with their Ferraris and with their big houses and dream boards. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with a dream board, but do I really get motivated when I see you standing on the beach with your no, not really.
especially now. Right. I mean, the average human eyeball is seeing 3,500 marketing messages a day. That is outrageous, right? No wonder we're all exhausted and we hate everyone, right? Like, oh my gosh. So to not be part of that, especially like coaches, we know we got some big-hearted, super intelligent, like mission-driven humans who listen to your podcast, right? So we know these are people who care. And so forgive me, I love white men, but the white man hustle that coaching sales
Mhm,
tactic taught is dead, right? It's
mhm,
been so we all know it a mile away. It's over and it won't be effective anymore. And that for anybody who wants to have a coaching business that's actually paying your bills, right? That's not going to be effective anymore because it's lost its humanity, and what it was pulling on was fear and scarcity. And here we are
mhm.
today talking about abundance, and it's more about like, I see you. I know it's really freaking hard right now, right? Like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I see you. And I just wanted you to know, I think you're amazing. And here's one thing you can do to feel great today. It's like people are like, what? Were you talking to me? As opposed to, yeah, you and your car, right? Because we have that feeling
Right.
and people aren't connecting and seeing each other anymore. And for those of us that are coaches, we know the danger of that. And we
Mhm.
know what's possible when we do connect. And so I think
Right.
really leading with that right now, oh my gosh, you want to increase your revenue, you want to go on a beautiful vacation for your family, you want to fund your retirement accounts, please start connecting with people and lead with them. And remember, your business is not about you, it's about them.
So, so good. And you gave me goosebumps a couple times
Oh,
during
good.
that little yes. So, love that. Love that we start it sort of kind of wraps into the 4 agreements too, right? Like it's not, do your best. It's not it's not about you. It's people are not sitting around like thinking about you, and everything that they do is in response to you. Everybody is the center of their own universe trying to do the best that they can do at the moment. When they feel that genuine connection, concern, desire to be of service to them, that is a whole different story. So you said there are ways to kind of put that into play, to kind of there is a strategy or a formula. How much are you willing to share,
Oh, let's
girlfriend?
do it. Oh, you guys, I just said I give it
Okay.
all away, right? And then you
All
all go,
right.
you sit
That's
down
right.
and you're
That's
like,
right.
I can't do this by myself. And then you call me and we'll have a great time, right? That's what
Mm.
happens. No, but here's what it is really. You guys get out your notebooks. If you're driving, be safe. If you're at the gym, please don't drop a dumbbell on your foot, and good on you for being in the gym. Okay. So here's what you do. Like really, it's incredibly simple.
Mhm.
Okay. And the faster you can do this and the shorter you can, the long sales page is also dead, right? So it is literally, hey, you, whatever that is. Right. So, like, my Abundance Academy is like, hey, I see you over there wanting to make more. Right. Oh, they're like, really, Patty?
Right.
Are you here? Right. You want to cause that feeling. Right. And it
Right.
takes
Right.
work to do that. I'm being flippant right now, but it takes work to be like, hey, you, I see you over there trying to lose weight. I see you over there fighting with your spouse. I see you over there feeling invisible. I see you. Whatever that message is for you. And the more specific that can be, the better, because I see you is starting to be understood in the sales world. So you'll actually see the 3 words I see you. And it's like, okay, you got to get more specific than that. Talk to your
Right.
person, know who they are, know what age they are, other things that you can pick up on. So if you're going after Gen Z, we got all their freaking slang, heaven help us all, right? We've got the millennials have their call outs. They know who they are. Women who are
Right.
middle-aged like me, we know who we are, right? So we want to be able to call that out gently inside the intro, right?
Mhm.
And I'm a huge fan. If anyone listening, I'm about to do a plug for someone else's total course. I am not an affiliate. I get nothing. But is Marie Forleo's Copy Cure is freaking genius at helping you figure this out. The next time it's open, just go buy it. It'll be the best thing you ever invest in, honestly. And I don't say that about anything, so it's real. Um, but she talks in that course about, say, a podiatrist, for example, who knows they can give you a healthy nail bed. No one wants a freaking healthy nail bed, right?
Right.
Chances are he's going after women because we care about our feet, right? And
Right.
it's about to be summer. So instead of,
And
I
we
can
want them to
give
look cute in our sandals.
bingo. So it's not like, hey, healthy nail beds are yours, right? I don't care
Yes.
about that. It's, oh my God, the sexiest sandals on your feet, 2 months, right? Whatever. And they're like, yeah, how did you know? So you've got
Yes.
to do the
I've
work
been
to get
looking
in
at this
there.
pair, but they're so expensive, and my toenails have to look so good if I'm gonna
I know.
buy them.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So that call out. So I'm saying, hey, you, but you can get inside that, hey, you
Right.
is genius. Inside that, hey, you know your customer forwards and backwards. Inside that, hey, your personality is showing. Their personality is starting to get like tickled and excited and like, oh my God, I love her already. Right. You want that feeling. And then just under that is this is the problem you're struggling with. This isn't about pain points. Pain points are also dead. We're all exhausted and we're all in pain all the time. Like, please don't poke my pain points. I already have them. Okay. So it's like, this is the problem I can solve for you. And it's not your fault you have this problem.
Mhm.
And that last line is the most important because of what we just said, right? It's not your fault. You can't spend $25,000 going to Greece right now. The world got rocked 4 years ago. You're working your assets off. I see you. I know what you're going through. This isn't your fault, but I can give you 3 things that will help you be able to do that by next year. And they're like, what? So it's incredibly specific. It's not your fault, right? And then we say, if you'd like help with this, this is what you do. The end. I know. I know, right? Everyone's like, what? What? You mean it's not 85 pages long? It's funny because I'm actually in the middle of reworking the Abundance Academy landing page and we're shortening it by God knows how much. Like I just like get it off there, get it off there, get it off there. They want to know how much it costs. They want to know how I'm going to help them and they want to know how quickly they'll see results. End of list. Like gone are the days of set up a call with me and maybe I'll tell you how much it is. Like we're done. Like that's not going to work anymore. And I know that that strategy is still being taught. And the reason it's not working anymore is the mindset shift, right? Is the collapse of faith in institutions that we as humans have experienced over the last 4 years. And rightly so, the course correction was needed. But it's having so many people standing there feeling angry, naked, confused, and frightened. And when we put all that together and you're the landing page, you're the sales page that says, yo, I know, totally not your fault, right? The industry wants you to feel this way, right? I always love when I tell people that, I think it's Jenny Craig and Nestle. They're both like all owned by one company. They get you going in,
Right. Right.
they get you going in. It's like they never lose. You do, but they never
Yeah.
do. So it's not your fault if this hasn't worked. It's designed
Right.
not to work.
Not to work.
Right. Yeah. And it's like most things are. And so when we know someone's really struggling with mindset, when someone as a coach hasn't, we know our people haven't transformed yet. Maybe you're introducing people to the coaching world. Maybe they've seen Tony Robbins and they hate him. Right. And so you're like going after those people who were so disenfranchised by that vibe of coaching. Right. And those are your people. You can attract them by talking about how gentle you are. Right. That this
Mhm.
is a path and a journey. And we're going to respect what you need in order to go through this. And it's not your fault. You've been afraid of coaches, right? Or if that's your people, right?
Mhm.
Somebody else is the exact opposite. And they're like, kick my assets. I need a tough coach. And those are
Right.
your people. We'll talk to them too. Go, dude, I know those
Right.
soft coaches. What the heck is that about? Right. Whoa, no wonder you haven't hired a coach. Those suckers. I'm the one you needed. Right. But you have to know
Right.
who they are in order to
Right.
talk to them that way. Right. But that's it. That's the structure. Hey, here's the problem I can solve. It's not your fault I have this problem. Here's how we're going to solve it. Let me know if you want to come in. That's it.
Love it. So a couple
That's
things
it.
that came up for me while you were talking was how many times I have gotten frustrated having to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll just to figure out, like, is this even an investment that I want to make? So that's one thing I would say, like, when you are thinking about your sales page, what are the things that irritate you about other sales pages? And don't be what irritates you. But the question that I have for you are things like testimonials. Are those important? Are they not important? Like what's Sarah's take on that?
Oh, that's so great. Yes, still to this day, though not the way they used to be. And there's a few reasons for that. Again, the inundation of information, people don't believe it anymore, which is so heartbreaking because especially all of us who've got awesome testimonials or you're like, oh my God, but I have such a good one, right? And it's like,
And this
we
person is
never.
really, they love me and I want you to know how much they love me.
Right, yeah. I mean, like, I think I have one that was like, "I made back 5 times the investment in month 1," and I'm like, "I wanna put that everywhere." Right, of
Yeah,
course it's
I think a billboard would be
yeah, right.
working for that. Yeah.
Times Square, anywhere, anyone, right? Yeah, of
I mean,
course. But, what I'll say about that is get the 1 or 2 that are like that, right? The
mhm,
1 or 2 that are like, "Oh my gosh," right? And you can put those around the area where you're putting either the price or, the click to purchase.
okay.
Um, if you feel like you're brand new, right? So this is getting a little bit deeper into understanding your audience as well. So testimonials are great, but there are 2 ways that you're going to go about your sales process, right? So there are either people who are product aware, meaning they're actively looking for a coach. They know what a coach is, right? So
Mhm,
that's going to be a different way that you speak, and those are going to be different testimonials. Also, if you have somebody who knows what a coach is, they may not need as many testimonials, right?
mhm,
If you are going after an audience that is solely problem aware, but they don't know about coaching, right? It's a little bit of a heavier lift. You've got to educate them on what coaching actually
mhm,
is, right?
mhm.
So that's going to probably a little bit more testimonial heavy because you're working on actually introducing them to the world of coaching and what you can provide for them and what other people have experienced there. Someone's more like they're product aware, they know they're looking for a coach, maybe not as much. I have some mostly because I'm dealing with money, right? Like I'm like,
Mhm.
we're talking about your relationship to money. We're talking about how you're going to increase revenue. We're talking about your abundance mindset. And they're like, yeah, okay, what's the ROI? And I'm like, I get that again, because they're
Mhm.
product aware about that specific thing. So I am going to put a testimonial about where people are loving their ROI. So it's like you've got to be aware of who you're going after there as well, whether or not you use testimonials and how you use them. But even now, I probably wouldn't do more than 1 or 2 on a sales page. We're kind of done with that. Like people don't
So
believe,
helpful.
yeah, make your life easier. And then if you've got great ones, social media posts like mad, put one on a pretty picture and go to town. 3 weeks later, put up another one, like use them. But on a
Mhm.
sales page, we're good. We know, we see you. We're good.
So good, so helpful. Um, gosh, Sarah, I want to keep you in my pocket. However, I know that you've got a busy life that you're leading. Um, what, if anything, did you want to be sure we hit on before we wrap up our time together today?
Oh my goodness, there's so many things, but I think one is I would really encourage anyone listening, if you're struggling with sales, if things aren't going the way you want, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't be a coach and make a real living, right? Which is the conversation I hear around coaching a lot. And it just breaks my heart. Is I really
Mhm.
want you to deal with your relationship with money. And I mean that with all my heart. I don't care how you do it. There's, oh my gosh, talk about abundance. There's like endless ways, right? If you're struggling with debt, go read Dave Ramsey. I know he's crazy, but go read him and deal with that. And like, we all need to work on that in this country. This credit is just handed out like candy and it just entraps people. And so working through that can help you feel the freedom you need to feel to be the best coach you can be. So there's that piece. If you want to learn more about investing, The Simple Path to Wealth is one of my favorite books to refer people to. You want to really get that handled because what I do know
Mhm.
about coaches, we tend to love people up. We want to be of service like crazy. We are mission driven. And somewhere along the line, that got confused with I shouldn't charge much money. I mean, it really did, right? Like, I'm a bad person if I
If
charge
I
money.
want to make a living doing,
Yeah.
but I'm here to help people. How can I charge for it?
And my response is always like, right. Do you think brain surgeons feel that way? Like, why are we acting like this skill set, which I truly believe I'm going to cry. Oh, I am like, I'm such a big baby, but I truly believe with all of my heart that coaching can change the world. And we look at what's
Wow.
happening right now, and we need coaches so freaking bad. We need coaches who are serious. We need coaches who take this training like legitimate on, head on, helping people make the best out of their lives. Because what's going to happen when we're all fulfilled? What would the world look like if people were actually living the life they wanted? And you can decide to be a billionaire or you can decide to just cover your bills. That part's not important, but you need to feel free enough to actually contribute in the way that you've been gifted to contribute. And then you go help other people do the same. It would be a very different world. So we've got to get this handled.
Oh my goodness. Sarah Walton, you are a gift. You are a joy. If you want more of Sarah, we're going to give her in abundance. First of all, she is the host of Game On Girlfriend podcast, right? Game On Girlfriend,
Yeah, game on, girlfriend. Yes.
such a great name of the show. Follow her, subscribe, be a Sarah Fanny, fan club. Don't be her Fanny.
We need to come up with like a Swifty version for Walton. I don't
Yeah,
know. We're gonna figure this out.
yeah.
I like it.
We
I
got to
like where
come
you're
up with
going.
something. If you want to know more about Sarah, be sure to grab her links in the show notes. If you're watching us on YouTube, they're right below here. My conversation with Sarah is going to continue in the Star Coach community. If you don't know about the Star Coach community, you are missing out. Be sure to check that out at starcoachshow.com/community. And each and every single week, I have guests on, like the amazing Sarah, if I'm not going solo and talking to you myself about strategies, tools, and resources for coaches and leaders. So thanks for taking your time to be here with us because Sarah had something to share and you need to hear it and apply it. And I am just so grateful for you. I'm grateful for you, Sarah. And I just want you all to know that I wish you the very best for your success. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We're all here doing it together. So let's lift together. And until next week, this is Meg Rentschler wishing you a great week. Take care.